welcome to Sahaja Meditation's third week here in our 8-week class here online. It's lovely to be here with you. As we proceed in our 8-week course, we are going to be getting into the depths of this practice, focusing on specific aspects within what's happening when you're meditating, all the while ensuring that we deepen your practice of meditation so that it is allowing you to get those benefits that we're talking about and establish all of those qualities that you will soon learn all are inherent within each and every one of you. So here in week 3, we're going to be covering 2 aspects, which I'm very excited about, really important aspects in the Sahaja learning. The first is preparing for meditation, so a technique that we can do to help us get into the state of meditation, to really help us get there. It's a little technique that you can incorporate into your meditation routine. And we're also going to be spending some time talking about the first energy center, which is known as the Muladhara chakra. So we'll start by talking about this process. In the practice and the process, we'll be talking about these 2 aspects all throughout this 8-week series. Today we're going to be focusing more on the process as we talk, and then we'll be getting into the practice of meditating. So what's happening when we're meditating as this energy is rising within us, rising through our 7 energy centers, and as we talked about last week in our 3 energy channels as well. So as the Kundalini energy rises up from the base of the spine, the triangular or sacrum bone at the base of the spine, it is awakening qualities within each one of us through the movement within each one of our 7 energy centers. As this Kundalini penetrates and sets this process into action, each of these energy centers, it becomes awakened, for lack of a better word. The energy is what's awakening, we should say, this energy center and setting things in motion so that this energy center, one by one, is going to come into a balanced state. So the impurities that are present within each one of us, because we're not at our optimal state in terms of our energy, that are causing us imbalances will improve. And that's on the spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional level. All of those levels, they will improve as our energy centers start to improve. So we're enabling our chakras to reach a balanced state, ridding ourselves of the impurities, all the imbalances which are causing problems within us, and then establishing that balanced state. So the imbalances will subside, really simple, and the positive attributes will manifest. So as we talk about each one of our chakras, this is what we're talking about. Each one of us have these imbalances within us. Some of them are stronger on some days and weaker on others, and vice versa. But ultimately what we're going towards is reaching these positive attributes inherent within each one of our 7 energy centers. So we're going to be focusing on the first energy center, also known as the Muladhara chakra. Muladhara simply means the root or support energy center. So chakra simply means wheel of energy, and mul is the root, dhar is the support. So this is the root or the support chakra, or the support energy center. So it's truly the foundation of this tree that we're building within ourselves, the root, the support. Physically, this corresponds to the coccygeal or pelvic plexus or the sacrum area within us. It's just beneath the sacrum bone. So if we look at where it is physiologically within us, we're talking about just beneath the sacrum bone at the base of the spine. This is where the first energy center is located. On the physical level, it's going to govern our reproduction and excretion. Simplistically, those are the 2 areas in which it's focused on the physical level. But as we get to all of those other areas within us, we'll start to see those imbalances and those strengths on the mental, emotional, and spiritual level within this energy center. So we may find that we have imbalances within our first energy center. Some of these are examples of qualities or habits that we might see manifesting within us. We might see within our life on a regular basis or irregularly when our first energy center is out of balance. Shrewdness, foolishness, having a lack of joy, not truly feeling joy for our existence, for our actual life, on a day-to-day basis, on a minute-to-minute basis, feeling that joy, noticing that joy, and living that joy. We may have a poor memory, and in general, because this is our root or our foundation chakra, we might exhibit qualities of being unstable or ungrounded. This is truly providing that support to enable us to be grounded in our life. So the opposite of all these are the qualities, and even more so, there are so many positive qualities that manifest or blossom when this energy center gets into a balanced state. So these are examples. Purity. Purity is we talk about purity and innocence. We're talking about that deep essence within us, which was unclouded, which was uninhibited when we were small, when we were very young, infants, toddlers, before we started developing our ego, before we became too much clouded with the knowledge of the world, with the conditionings of the world, with the expectations of the world, with the responsibilities of the world. When we were simple, we were pure, we were innocent, we didn't need much to entertain us, we didn't need much to make us happy, we didn't judge, we didn't discriminate, we experienced life as an experiment of joy on a minute-to-minute basis until something got in the way of that simple, pure existence. So we often think that we lose that as we grow, as we learn about responsibilities, as we learn about expectations, as we grow into our adulthood, and then some. But ultimately, the truth that is experienced through this practice of Sahaj is that all of these qualities are inherent within us. They are still established within our being. And once we enable ourselves to tap into them, they begin to blossom again. They begin to manifest it again. It doesn't turn us into naive or simplistic or unaware, unconnected people behaving in a way that's not connected to reality, that's not connected to the responsibility that we truly have. It just enables us to be happier, full of joy, and see our life as a manifestation of a beautiful experience. So just getting connected to that purity, that innocence, that joy. Dignity is also tied to our first energy center. So that dignity that we might carry or we might not. Our balance, our sense of direction, because this is connected with our foundation, our magnetism, how we are attracted and how we get attracted. So sense of direction, if we are able to naturally direct ourselves in the right direction. In terms of a very obvious example, where we're going on a map, where we're headed on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis, or on a grander scale, if we end up moving in such a way that we're leading ourselves into an evolutionary direction. Our wisdom, when we're young, when we're pure, when we live our lives in that great joyful mirth of childhood, we have a great connection to wisdom. We say things, children say the darndest things, and just that beauty and that wisdom that comes out of the mouths of babes. We still have that within us. We might lose the courage to be connected to it, but as we establish this first energy center on a stronger, deeper level, we're getting grounded, we're becoming more wise, we're experiencing, tapping into that joy. I hope this gives you a bit of a summary of what can happen when we truly get that foundation, that Muladhara established within us. There's so much more. But that's a simplistic view of what's happening when our first energy center is getting into balance. When we look at this area, we can start to focus on what's happening once this energy is rising up, once it's awakened from that dormant state in the sacrum bone, the triangular bone at the base of the spine. Excuse me, as the first energy center starts to come into balance, we start to experience the reflection of that happening on our hands. And so the first energy center, again, just beneath the sacrum bone at the base of the spine, as each one of our energy centers comes into balance, the reflection of that happening is communicated to us on our hands. Our hands are truly speaking to us in this process of Sahaja. So as we go through and we learn about the chakras week by week, we'll learn about where they are on our hands, where they're reflecting. The first energy center is reflecting at the base of the wrists on both the right and the left hand. So when this energy has created balance within our first energy center, we'll start to experience it by observing what we're feeling, a vibratory awareness on the base of the wrists. When it's out of balance, we'll be able to determine that. And when it's in balance, we'll be able to determine that. So it's truly reflecting the state of our chakra, and it's actually narrating the effects of this happening of meditation. When our energy centers are out of whack, when they're not in balance, we're going to experience it as heat or heaviness. So more weight, more heavy, and temperature-wise, warmer or hotter. And so if we're feeling heat or heaviness or warmer sensations on any part of our hands or fingertips, that's a reflection that this energy is in need of working. It's actually working in this area within us, and it's helping to establish balance, to rid this area within us of imbalances, of impurities, and establish the positive attributes. Once our energy centers get into a balanced state, what we're then feeling is a lighter, so less heavy, a lighter sensation, and a cooler sensation. So when our energy centers, when our chakras are in a balanced state, we're not going to feel so much heat, we're not going to feel so much heaviness. It's going to transform. The narration of this process, the story just changes. So it changes from heavy and hot to a cooler and lighter reflection within us. So that's a bit of the first energy center in a nutshell. As we go through week by week, we'll talk about each one of these 7 energy centers within us. But this week, we're going to introduce a new technique, and this is incredibly helpful once you're establishing yourself in this Sahaja routine to enable you to get into that state of meditation more easily and more effectively. This is called raising the inner energy, or raising the Kundalini, as the inner energy is also known as Kundalini. It's a 2-part action, and I'll explain it and then we'll do it all together. And this is going to get us set up for our meditation today, in which we're going to incorporate this technique. So raising our inner energy helps us to settle into meditation before we begin our meditation, and we also use this at the end of our meditation. It's helping to culminate our practice, to ultimately preserve the effects of each and every meditation. So by doing this simple action before our meditation, we're helping ourselves settle down, and at the end, it's helping to sustain what we've achieved through our meditation. So let's begin in understanding how we're doing it, and then we'll experiment with doing it all together. So raising our inner energy, we begin with our hands in our lap in front of us at the base of the spine. Our palms are faced towards the body or slightly upwards, and you can absolutely do this as we move. So very gently, just place right in front of us, in front of the base of the spine. Both hands are going to rise up, and as they rise up, our right hand is rotating around the left hand. So both hands are rising up, but the right hand is rotating around the left. They're rising up the center of our being. This is parallel to our spine. Our hands are a few inches in front of the body. And once we get up and over the top of the head, our attention is rising with this practice. So as our hands are going up, our attention is rising up. And once we get up there, we're going to tie an invisible knot up and over the top of the head. Just like that, rotating our hands, imagining that we're just simply tying one invisible knot. So these knots are representing our desire to maintain our focus and thoughtless awareness, our desire to raise our Kundalini energy. This practice, any actions that we're doing in the Sahaja technique, you'll see that I said here, it's not rote, it's not physical, it's not an activity that's just meant to be a way for us to get our blood flowing, our hands moving, or directing our attention on a physical level. What we're truly doing is moving on the physical level, but all of that movement is an expression of our desire to raise our inner energy. If we have limited movement, if we're not comfortable, the physical movement is not at all a requirement. What is going to make it effective is that it's a vehicle, or it's an instrument to bring our attention from the base of the spine to the top of the head. So this is the simple action of raising our inner energy. So once we get our hands over the top of the head, again, we just tie one knot. What happens is that this action happens 3 times at the beginning of our meditation. So we raise our energy up to the top of the head and tie a knot 3 times. Each time there's a slight difference. The first time that we raise our hand and we get up to the top of the head, we're tying 1 indivisible knot right up and above the top of the head. The second time that we come up, we're going to be tying 2 indivisible knots. So 1 and then 2 times. So 1 and then 2. The third time we get up and over the top of the head, we're going to be tying 3 knots. So 1, 2, and 3. Hands get up there, and we're tying 1, 2, 3. So very simple. The first time 1 knot, second time 2 knots, the third time 3 knots. And this is helping us integrate our 3 energy channels up and over the top of the head. So that's raising our inner energy, or raising our Kundalini. Once you get used to doing it, it becomes a very simple, familiar activity. When you're beginning in incorporating this action, it may feel just like an action. But the idea is that the more that you incorporate it into your meditation, you will start to see that that becomes a reflection of your desire to bring your attention to raise your inner energy up and over the top of the head. So much so that you begin to not focus on the movement, but you're focusing within yourself on that rising of that energy. So that's the first of 2 parts. The second part of this action that we're doing at the beginning and the end of our meditation are called shields of protection. It's also known as bandhan. Bandhan simply means to tie or to protect or to close. And so these shields of protection, we're going to be doing 7 of them, but let's start very simple. We start with our left hand on our left knee, with our left palm up, and our right hand is the working hand. Our right hand begins near the left hand. Our right hand can be facing our body like this. Very simple, our right hand just near our left hip. Now we start by raising our right hand up the left side of our body and then down the right side. So our right hand moves up from the left, up over the head, and then down the right side. And then it's going to pause on the right lap. So that's kind of a half. Then we go right back along the same path. The right hand returns backwards along the same path, up the right side, over the head, and then down the left side to end right on the left lap. So that is 1 shield of protection, over and back. So that's 1 bandhan. We're going to be doing 7 of them. So while doing this, just like the first action that we've learned, the raising of the inner energy, it may seem initially as just movement, but what we're doing is we're truly expressing that desire that each one of our energy centers is put into a balanced state. So we can start to focus, once we're comfortable with the action, on each one of our 7 energy centers, that each one of those qualities, attributes inherent within our chakras become established, and that each one of our energy centers gets protected, and that the achievement that we're making through our meditation is then sustained, that it will enable our progress, our journey, to be a cumulative or progressive journey. So that's the practice of raising our inner energy and giving ourselves 7 shields of protection. It's a wonderful practice to do at the beginning of our meditation. And it's another way to end our meditation to enable our practice to be cumulative. I'm going to put a link in the description in which you can follow a very simple video tutorial anytime to help you get established in this technique. So we'll be getting into our meditation right now, getting into the experience of everything. We may incorporate some of these affirmations and gestures that you're familiar with. If you're at any time uncomfortable, our home position is, again, is palms open, fingertips apart on our lap. We may do balancing of the left side. We may do balancing of the right side. No need to memorize it. I'll be guiding us through. So let's get comfortable. Let's turn off all of our noises. You can take off our glasses, get nice and comfortable, and settle down in our home position with our palms open on our laps and our eyes closed. Roll our shoulders a few times, roll our heads on our necks, loosening up our upper body. We carry so much tension in our upper body. We want to pay our attention not to our physical self, but not to our emotional self, not to our mental self, but to our spiritual self. Paying attention to ourselves in terms of that makeup of energy. So we're bringing our focus within ourselves. Let's start ourselves on our meditation by raising our inner energy and giving ourselves 7 shields of protection. So our first time raising up, right hand rotating around the left. When we get up and over the top of the head, we tie 1 knot. And we'll do this 3 times. Second time, left hand rises up, right hand rotates around the left. When we get up and over the top of the head, we'll tie 2 knots. And the third time, same thing. Left hand rises up, right hand rotates around the left. When we get up and over the top of the head, we'll tie 3 knots, integrating our left, our right, and our central energy channel. Let's then give ourselves a protection with our 7 shields of protection, or bandhan. Right hand starts on the left side of our body. We're going over and back 7 times. Focusing on our 7 energy centers, even if we're not familiar with where they are with each one of them, just in general, bringing our attention up from the base of the spine to the top of the head. Each one of our 7 energy centers. And it's all about the intention. It's not about the number. We might lose track. It happens if we're truly aiming to get into a deep state of meditation. That is not important. The physical movement is not important. It's all about the intention. Once we've raised our inner energy, given ourselves 7 shields of protection, we may find that our focus is already up and over the top of the head. And we can check if we're actually even feeling some of that vibratory awareness. At this point, slowly raising our hand up from the base of the spine, cupping our hand in front of us until our hand gets up and over the top of the head. If we'd like, we can gently give the crown of the head a gentle massage, taking the center of the palm of the hand, placing it right on the top center of the crown of the head, and giving that area a gentle massage, pressing and rotating. Gentle massage. And then letting our hand rise up and over the top of the head until we can perhaps observe some sensations close to or farther above the top of the head. We might feel something close to or slightly farther above the top of the head. not only is this where we want our focus to be, this is where we truly want all of our senses to culminate. We don't want to look at anything at this point. We don't want to respond to sounds, to physical sensations, to thoughts. So let's go ahead and bring our sight and our sound and our sense of smell. If we can muster up all of those faculties within us and culminate all of our senses at the crown of the head and bring that multi-dimensional ability to observe right into that space up and over the top of the head, we'll be able to more easily get into a state of meditation. Keeping our focus over the head as we return our hand back down to our laps. Let's see if we can sustain ourselves in that silent meditative state for a minute. Bringing our palms back to our laps, fingertips apart, yet maintaining our focus up and over the top of the head. We might find ourselves struggling with our mind, struggling with being able to bring our focus into the present, to deny the temptation to respond to thoughts corresponding to the past or the future. When this happens, it's useful to work on our sixth energy center at the forehead by taking our right hand, placing it across the forehead, resting our head into the palm of the right hand. So bending our head slightly forward, relaxing our neck, and using that power of forgiveness to open up our sixth energy center. So without thinking of anyone in specific, casting out this message of sincere forgiveness from our hearts by silently saying, I forgive everyone. And I forgive myself. I completely forgive everyone. And I forgive myself. Let no stone remain unturned. Let this message, this commitment to forgiveness be so broad, so comprehensive, that it covers our entire past and our entire present, and even stretches out into the future. There is no reason to carry this burden of anger, of resentment, of spite. I completely forgive everyone. And I forgive myself. Bring our hand back to our lap, palms open. Paying attention that we're not too slouched, that we're able to sit in a comfortable way, yet upright, so that our attention can pass the throat area, can pass the forehead area, and can reach upwards to the crown of the head and slightly beyond. By expressing this forgiveness, we may find it easier to dive into the present moment. Once we're there, once our attention is in this moment between our thoughts, not responding to any mental idea, any mental activity at all, but observing the silent gap between our thoughts, letting that gap expand, truly becoming thoughtlessly aware. With our focus over the top of the head, this is a wonderful time to balance our energy channels. Once we're in that state of meditation, if we're struggling, we're going to just continue to communicate to those thoughts, to those distractions that are pulling our attention away, just simply committing by silently saying, not now, not now, not this thought, not that thought, not that distraction, not this distraction. None of this matters right now. No thought. And once again, reestablish our focus up and over the top of the head. We can always give that crown area a gentle massage. We can do it right now. Bring our hand up to the crown of the head. Give that area a gentle massage, pressing and rotating. Take a minute to find where our seventh energy center is. It's right at the center of the top of the head, that point that was soft in our infancy. And let's take the center of the palm and place it right on the center of the top of the crown of the head, stretching our fingertips and giving that area a gentle massage, pressing and rotating. We may find that we are focusing on the massage or the movement of our hand, but what's more effective is if we're focusing on that area on the head, the seventh energy center, and the movement of our scalp, that rotating of the scalp, that opening of our seventh energy center. And while doing this action, expressing that desire within us, I want to experience my self-realization, or I want to deepen my experience of self-realization. Slowly, let's bring our hand up and over the top of the head, seeing if we're observing any sensations up and over the top of the head. If we're feeling any sensations close to or farther above the top of the head, just observe. Without thinking about it, without analyzing it, without reacting to it, keeping our focus there. As we return our hand back down to our lap. So we'll keep our hands open on our laps, back to our home position, with our focus up and over the top of the head. Getting into that state of meditation and then relaxing into it, deepening into it, so that any work that we do while in our state of meditation has an effect. So let's balance our left energy channel, but we'll do this maintaining that thoughtless awareness state. We balance our left energy channel, keeping the left palm open on our laps and dropping our right hand down towards the ground. So our right hand is dangling down next to us. If we're sitting on the ground, we can place the palm of the right hand right on the ground. Or if we're sitting in a chair or on a sofa, we can let our right hand just dangle down next to us. We're maintaining our focus up and over the top of the head, keeping the palm of the left hand open because this action is helping to bring our left channel into a balanced state. We don't need to think about it while we're doing it. The analysis of the process can be left for before or after. While we're doing it, let's just be completely dedicated to getting beyond our mind, to dive deep into this silence of the present moment. No thought matters right now. We can increase the potency of our meditation by ensuring that we have our desire involved in the game. So our desire to meditate, our desire to get into that state of thoughtless awareness, our desire to cleanse our left energy channel, to rid our system of impurities, our desire to become completely integrated with all of our senses, with all of our faculties, with all of our attention, absolutely integrated up and over the top of the head in meditation. If we're doing it right, if we're allowing ourselves to suspend our thought, to let that action just simply dissipate, to dissolve, to become an irreality, and become connected with the true reality of this present moment. If we're doing that right, then we'll start to observe this vibratory awareness on the palms of the hands. When our left channel is getting into a state of balance, that heat and heaviness that might be apparent on the palm of the left hand is going to subside, and we'll start observing a lighter, even, cooler awareness, very subtle vibratory awareness, energy, sensations on the palm of the left hand. If our channel is not in a balanced state, or it's working out, getting established as our energy is starting to work through our system, we may not initially feel anything on the palm of the left hand. So to resolve that, we want to dedicate to being in this state of meditation, to getting our attention up and over the top of the head in thoughtless awareness, letting this process work out. We can see the growth, we can see the effects of this process when we experience an increase in this vibratory awareness. So if we're not feeling anything and then we start feeling it, that's also progress. So increased vibratory awareness is progress, or a progress from heat or heavy sensations to a lighter, cooler observation. That is also a reflection of progress or balance within our system. Let's observe what we're feeling on the palm of the left hand before we switch sides. Keeping our focus up and over the top of the head as we observe, no thought. And then let's switch by bringing our right palm back up to our lap. So our right palm is now open on the palm of on our right lap. Right palm is open. And our left arm is going to bend at the elbow so that the left hand is near the left ear. By sitting in this position with our right hand open, palm open on our lap, and our left arm bent at the elbow with the left hand near the left ear, we're allowing the impurities that are present on our right energy channel to be cleansed, and we're keeping that palm of the right hand open, focusing on our right energy channel, which begins near the right hip, rises up the right side of our being, crosses over at the forehead, and culminates on the left side of the head. Without analyzing the process, without thinking about it, without working towards understanding or justifying it while we are engaged in it, but rather engaging in the process, in a state of thoughtless awareness. That thinking we can do later. This will work when we allow ourselves not to think about it. Thinking is just going to suspend the process. So to truly test the experiment, to truly analyze it, we actually have to stop thinking about it. That is the best way to experience the proof of this experiment, to test it out and to see if it's actually working. So we'll keep our focus up and over the top of the head, constantly seeking out the silence between our thoughts, and incorporating our desire at every moment, that desire to be dissolved in terms of our mental state, just dissolving. In terms of our physical state, just dissolving, not focusing on the confines of our body or the confines of our mind. Diving into that silence between our thoughts. And keeping our complete attention up and above the top of the head. Let all impurities present in my right channel be absolutely dissolved. All of that aggression, all of those reactions, all the anxiety within me. Let's narrow that swing of the pendulum so that the extremes reduce, so that my center becomes stronger, so that I ultimately gain control of the extreme behaviors, the extreme tendencies within me, so that these extremes, reduce, so that the positive attributes, the joy, the wisdom, the purity, the wonder, begin to re-manifest within. Let's observe what we're feeling on the palm of the right hand while our right channel is getting into a balanced state. Slowly we'll bring both of our palms back to our laps, both palms open, fingertips apart. Our focus now in our central channel from the base of the spine to the top of the head. We'll bring our focus from the base of the spine to the top of the head. We can use our hands to reflect that desire, to raise our inner energy, to raise our focus, to culminate our entire being, our entire self, existing in that silence of the present moment, up and over the top of the head. What do we feel? Very close to the top of the head. What do we feel slightly above? What is the state of my subtle experience at this point in my meditation? How apparent is my inner energy up and over the top of the head? Holding our hands open in front of us, fingertips apart, how apparent is the reflection of this happening on the palms of my hands? What is the state of my subtle system? What is this reflection? What is my story? What is my inner energy communicating to me about this system, about these energy centers? What is the state of my subtle system? Let's keep our focus up and over the top of the head as we return our hands back down to our laps. And we'll maintain this meditative state, deepening moment by moment as we get farther and farther away from the tendency to think and analyze, and closer to the absolute experience, our absolute existence, our absolute real reality, true reality of this present moment as we get deeper and deeper into this meditative state. And we'll do that with a bit of music just for a few minutes. Let's bring our hands up to the level of the chest, so fingertips apart, hands open at the level of the heart, so right at our chest level, focusing in the palms of the hands while maintaining our attention above the top of the head. What is the state of my subtle system at this point in my meditation? How is this progress being reflected in the palms of my hands? What am I feeling on my fingertips? What am I feeling in the centers of my palms? How does it differ from right to left? Can I bring my attention, dive into this state of thoughtless awareness over the top of the head and not analyze the experience? Just be there. And what do I feel when I don't think about it? When I'm just here? Let's then check what we can observe up and over the top of the head, bringing our hand from the base of the spine up and over the top of the head. What is the reflection of this happening close to or farther above the crown of the head? This is how we mark our progress. This is how we are able to tell if our meditation is having an effect. We can lie to everyone else, but we cannot lie to our inner energy. This relationship that gets developed between ourselves and our inner energy is one of absolute honesty, absolute reflection. What is the state of my subtle system? What am I feeling at this point, up and over the top of the head? And if we switch hands, how does it compare from one hand to the other? What do I feel with the other hand, up and over the top of the head? We might feel more close to the head. We might be able to observe this sensation much farther above the top of the head, so we can feel that difference. We can explore as we move our hand very slowly upwards on that axis. How does it compare very far and very close? Let's keep our attention there, keep our focus up and over the top of the head. Bring our hand back down to the lap. And we're going to end our meditation today just as we began, by raising our inner energy and giving ourselves 7 shields of protection. So our left hand rises up from the base of the spine, right hand rotates around the left. When we get up and over the top of the head, we're going to tie 1 knot. And we'll do this 3 times. Second time, when we get up and over the top of the head, we'll tie 2 knots. And the third time, once we get up and over the top of the head, we'll tie 3 knots. Integrating our left, our right, and our central channel, truly sustaining that progress, sustaining our focus, sustaining our inner energy up and over the top of the head. And let's give ourselves our 7 shields of protection. We're starting on our left side with our right hand on the left palm, on the left lap. Our right hand goes up and over like a big arc, and then returns back over the same path. That's 1 shield of protection. We're going to do that 7 times, over and back, 7 times. Bringing our meditation to an end, opening our eyes. Before we wrap things up today, we want to continue in this progress It's truly cumulative. It will just get better and better the more time that we carve out for it. Twice a day, if we're not meditating already, we'll try to amp it up little by little. It's all about our desire. If we truly want to conduct this experiment, it will work best if we give it an absolute chance. So twice a day, 10 or 15 minutes in the morning, 10 or 15 minutes in the evening, foot soaks every evening if we can, meditating collectively, and now incorporating this practice. And I encourage you, if it's feeling complicated, to raise our inner energy and do our 7 shields of protection at the beginning and end of our meditation. If it's complicated, go right back to the basics, keep it simple, and just ensure that you're meditating with your palms open. Getting that state is what it's all about, getting into the state of meditation. Once you can do that, it's like riding a bike. You can establish that balance. Maybe no one needs to hold on to your seat anymore. You're able to just balance and move forward. You're not falling anymore. That's when you can start to do a little bit more. That's when you can start look right, look left. Maybe you can ring your bell a little bit. You can do a little bit more. And so raising that inner energy is an add-on. And so once you're able to get into the state of meditation, you're not finding it complicated. Go ahead and incorporate that technique, add it on. It's going to help you in the beginning and in the end of your meditation. So that's it for our 3rd week today. Lovely having you here with us. Thanks again for joining us and looking forward to our next few weeks.